Radio check. Loud and clear.
Hi, guys. Welcome back to.
Is it 11?
This
So
is not
11?
episode 11. This is closer. Probably, I counted. This is like 18 or 19.
Holy crap. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're nearing by the end of the season, we will have hit 20 episodes, which is a lot considering we just started in the middle of summer, like right
Yeah.
before the British Grand Prix. Granted, if you're listening to this and you made it this far, thanks for sticking through with us because it has been a little rocky. And to the real ones who have been here since the beginning, thanks, guys. And to the ones who always ask where their new content is, here you go.
Welcome.
You know, things just get crazy. Ava and I are both like functioning adults in different capacities. We try to be. And so it just takes a lot. But you know, I do the behind the scenes stuff, and so editing takes a lot out of you, man. If there's anybody who wants to be a volunteer editor, go ahead.
Sign up now.
I can pay you in a reference. That's what you really need. And then like Ava, she's been doing all the upfront stuff with emailing and everything. So we are trying to do things to keep things on track. But
yeah.
Sometimes things
a lot
happen.
of things at the wall and nothing is sticking right now, so that's probably why. But
yeah,
you know, eventually something's bound to stick. So
and so, you know, being honest, I haven't finished editing the episodes that we do have saved right now, as far as like race episode goes. So I can't tell you when our last race recap preview was. You know, I know for sure we didn't talk about Brazil.
Nope.
I know for sure, like, we didn't talk about Mexico.
Nope.
Maybe we did a COTA preview, but we didn't talk about COTA. So, you know,
schedule-wise, that's where we are. This is after Brazil, after COTA, after Mexico. So
yeah. And you know, like, yeah. We've made everything comes with a little bit of trial and error. And you know, now that we're nearing the end of this like race season, maybe not necessarily the podcast season. We'll see. We haven't really talked about that yet. But you know, we did this for fun, and I think it's still been fun for both of us. So yeah, we've learned things, and we've learned how to do things, and this is a passion project for the both of us. So it's something. We're still going. It could be worse. We could have just fallen off the face of the earth completely. But we didn't. So yeah. That being said, we got a lot to discuss.
Yes.
We're not even going to get into the race recaps.
Yeah, forget that till like the very end. We'll see if that even makes an appearance.
We'll see if it comes up. I mean, if we do it now, we can just say that what you need to know is Charles won in Austin. Carlos won in Mexico. No.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes, Carlos won in Mexico. Max won in Brazil. Lando hasn't won in a hot second. That being said, Lando is the last one still mathematically in the running for a championship that's left.
The scales are very towards Max, but
yes,
you know, we'll see.
Lando, at this point in time that we're at now, needs to outscore Max by 3 points in Vegas. I am actually going to crash out.
We'll put a live caption somewhere online.
That does not happen. I'm actually going to crash out. I'm going to crash out for a lot of reasons regarding Vegas, but we can talk about those at the end.
But so you'll be there to crash out. Like, you'll see this happening.
Well, yes, but there's like reasons. Me being there is also going to make me crash out. But like I said, like this is some like recent discovery stuff that I've done, but like literally has happened within the last 2 hours.
Okay.
That's going to make me crash out. So we talked about that at the end. But yeah, we've had, you know, Carlos I got so sad when they said it was like likely his last race win for a while,
Mm-hmm.
maybe ever.
Oh my God, no. Cass sent me this TikTok that was like comparing Carlos leaving Ferrari to Daniel leaving Red Bull. And I crashed out on the spot, immediate crash out. Like I was like sick to my stomach almost. I was like, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that.
We can repost. I won't put it in like the video, but we can repost it on socials.
Yes.
But yeah, Danny Rick got one win after that, but it wasn't with his team right after he left Red Bull.
Nope.
Oh.
I'm hoping there's no parallels here because that would be really unfortunate.
Yeah. But so yeah, Lewis, there was a whole thing in there that people were afraid that Lewis right after Brazil. Well, I don't know why they would think that, but they were like, "Oh, Lewis isn't going to race anymore." No, that's not true. He was just saying goodbye to like the way that mechanics are for different parts of the season, like they rotate out.
Mm-hmm.
And since that was I mean, aside from Vegas, that was the end of like the Americas. Uh
Mm-hmm.
there they just had some Lewis just had some mechanics that he wouldn't see for the rest of the season. So
Mm-hmm.
and he won't see them. They won't be his mechanics anymore because
Yeah.
he's going to Ferrari. So that's really, I mean, that's that.
I mean, my
But
question to that is like, who were they thinking was going to replace Lewis? They would pull
I've
Kimmy?
got no clue.
It's
And
like,
like, that's, it's the dumbest. I mean, it's not really the dumbest because I mean, if you don't really know, you don't know. But
right.
it's like, I
I
don't
saw it
know.
and I was like, where's Carlos going to go then? Like, you're just like domino affecting everyone out of their seats.
Right. Yeah. So little bit of wacko stuff happening.
Mhm.
Um, but that's that. I don't really want to talk about Brazil.
You know,
Everybody else can. I
two
won't
words,
take it away
hot
from you.
mess. It was a hot mess.
Brazil was a big hot mess. What you need to know, Max won again for the first time in 3 months, and we
Uh,
had a double Alpine podium.
we can talk about that because that was crazy.
I didn't even watch the podium. I was so
Cass crashed out again.
I did crash out because like this was literally like Max had a hella drive. I will not
Mm.
dismiss that. And I will not be classified with the psycho Lando fans who choose to dismiss that because I know that Max had a good drive. But
Yeah, no, I get it.
Alpine's literally on the podium because they got a lucky safety car. If I can't say that it was like a lucky safety car for Max, I can say that it was a lucky safety car for the Alpines because and like I can be mad at McLaren, but I
Mhm.
can't even like be mad at McLaren because Lando, like I follow the little radios on the McLaren app and
Mhm.
like Lando's tires were going, Oscar's tires were going. He didn't know if he was going to be able to make it if there wasn't some kind of safety car or red flag or something.
Mhm.
So they made the best call that they could in the moment. And then it just so happened that 2 laps after that, there was a there was a red flag or a safety car or whatever. And like,
Yeah, it was just a lot of bad luck, I think. And I think that was what people took out of proportion. Because, like, especially with
yeah,
the media interviews, Lando was like, oh, it's all luck. He was talking about himself, guys. If you think that he was talking about Max in that situation, go back and watch that shit in slow mo. Whoopsie, censor that. Watch it in slow motion. He was not referring to Max's drive. Like, he never
yeah,
even brought that up. Everyone just wanted to make a problem out of it. Like, there was literally no problem.
yeah.
And like to the point where like you got me leaving angry comments, which I don't do. I don't like to do that. Like I only leave funny stuff if I have something to say. But
Yeah.
literally, like, I was like, guys, like please use some critical thinking skills because nowhere in
It's
that any sentence that he said it was like Max's drive was pure luck.
And that's like that sums up a lot of like the F1 community now as a
Mhm.
whole, especially like in regards to like just thinking about like social media and stuff, is nobody will go. Before social media, people would have to go and like watch the YouTube video of
Mhm.
the interview, or they would have to be there in person for themselves
Mhm.
and to know the like you couldn't just see little snippets and take it and run with it. I mean,
Mhm.
you could see headlines, and so I guess they would do that with like actual print news. They would see headlines and like they would run with it. But like
Mhm.
social media, it's way easier to just like reshare something to your story
Mhm.
without ever finding the source, without ever fact checking, without ever verifying. And that is why I want to do what I want to do,
Mhm.
because it just like and
Yeah,
it's
the like
been like
clickbait
it's been
becomes
that
what
way,
it
and it happens like that for like every driver, and every driver
is.
says something stupid that I mean, obviously, they probably didn't mean it because
Yeah.
they said it, but they probably didn't mean it in the context that you're taking it because you read it from a clickbait headline. And yeah, that's just so common. Obviously, right now we see it the most towards Lando. I'm not
Mhm.
going to defend and like worship the ground that he walks on.
Mhm.
He said some dumb stuff and done some dumb things.
Yeah.
But like, you know,
Yeah. I mean, I think it's also like going back to that whole thing with like, especially when people see someone winning, see someone doing consistently
yeah.
good, it's
I
immediately
mean, the
let's
cycle
it like
it
constant. And like
repeats.
it happened to Max last year. Everyone was absolutely dogging on him.
Mhm.
And like what he won almost every race except Singapore last year.
No, he didn't win.
Oh, Checo won a couple, but like Red Bull
Yeah.
won every single race.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, like the second anyone starts doing good, it's like immediately our like people's first instinct is to okay, they're either cheating,
Yeah.
they're either being paid off, or they're just a terrible person. Which like 9 times out of
Hmm.
10, none of those are the case. So like,
Yeah.
and I think what people are also like getting at is like, I don't know. I just feel like a lot of people are seeing themselves in what Lando does, maybe. And they're like realizing that, oh, someone else is doing what I shouldn't be doing. So I'm going to get on him for that. But like, if it comes to them, you know,
Yeah.
do whatever. But
I think I mean there's just like a whole talk around it,
mhm.
like all of it. And it like just like that like I there was a conversation that I witnessed earlier today and I like commented a little bit on it.
Mhm.
But like somebody was like they just need to drop the narrative between Lando and Max and like could like one of them will be a world champion, one of them will stay in the fight. And it's like
Mhm.
why? Just be like, if we think about like, if we look at the statistic of Lando winning a world championship, it's very slim.
Mhm.
Like, it's still probable because mathematically, like, there is still a chance
Yeah.
that he would win. Is it likely to happen? Just like knowing what we know now, not in
Mhm.
the future, whatever. Slim. Like
Yeah.
just based on Lando's start, how Lando handles race, like
Yeah. Just
altercations with
statistically,
Max.
like it's
You
not in his
know,
favor.
it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, there's probable doubt
Mhm.
that he will not be winning the championship. But it's like when situations like this arise,
Mhm.
your promoters of races, whatever, they're not going to let go of a narrative.
Oh
Is
no.
it and like sure, the narrative can be harmful if you're
Mhm.
like in Lando's situation. If you're in Max's situation, it's not as harmful because he is the one that's leading the championship. He has
Mhm.
a little bit less to lose. Um, Lando has everything to lose, and like it's gonna come down. Like people are already saying now that like he's bottles the championship like he bottles the race start.
Mhm.
And it's just like, cut the guy a break. It's really not
Yeah.
that deep. And I think we need to give up these parasocial relationships that we have with drivers
Yes.
in the sense of like, so what? Like, and like speaking for myself, so I'm going to Vegas and I am happy it makes me like I'm like still more excited to go to Vegas because Lando still has a chance.
It's gonna be exciting, yeah.
And so it's like if I'm sitting there and I'm watching Lando and I'm like seeing Lando get 3 points above Max with my own eyeballs will be like the highlight of my experience. I can tell you that now. Whether I meet a driver, whether I like do whatever, like just seeing that, and I think it's okay for fans to like, live in certain delusions. Let's literally like sports in general. I can't living in Texas. I can't tell you how many times I hear people say "we dem boys" and they're so back, talking about the Cowboys when the Cowboys haven't been back for 40 years. That was the last their last Super Bowl was in the 90s, and then they haven't done anything since. They've like maybe made it close, but no, they haven't really done anything else. And so it's like that's literally what sports is kind of built on. And so of course promoters are going to run that narrative, and I don't think that that's something that should be shut down. Like, I've had to like in like the past month, just from like the break that we've had and everything, and like our 2 breaks that we've had, whatever, I've had to like steer or like refrain or like from sharing like on my honest like hopes and like stuff for Vegas, just because it's like I don't have a parasocial relationship with drivers. I think the drivers, and I think they're great. They obviously all are good at their jobs, or else they wouldn't be driving. We can see that, with Exhibit A, Logan Sargent, Exhibit B, Daniel Ricciardo. So they start slacking, they're out the car. But I think it's okay for me to want the championship. It's okay for me to have those hopes. Just for the fun, like just for the fun of it. And I think that that's like when we start to cross that line of like, I don't know. This is kind of like a bunch of different issues all rolled into one. So I'm sorry to those listening. It's like she keeps jumping back and forth. Well, yes, because I feel very strongly about this, and I could make a full episode by itself on this, but that's not why we're here. So, long story short, don't have parasocial relationships with drivers. Please do not write them long, super long birthday messages that, I don't know, make it sound like you need to touch grass. Please do not do that. I would also want to I would also refrain from using the internet if I opened my Instagram and that's the first thing I saw. So please do not have parasocial relationship with drivers, and let fans enjoy the parts of the sport that they want to enjoy. Everybody has something different that they like about the sport, and that's okay. There are people out there that every week they're like, oh, maybe Valtteri can get the Sauber into Q3. There's people out there. Every week we have a race. I guarantee it. They're like, just maybe, but we're not commenting on them. We're not commenting on them and like the enjoyment. Like we just think it's funny. So think that it's funny for me to think that Lando has like a great chance at winning a championship just to make things fun for me. Like, why are you going to hate on my business? I'm not hating on yours. I'm not making this sport not fun for you. So let it be fun for me. Anyways, that's a good place. That's a good place to leave it there. Maybe we can talk about this at the end of the season. Because there's so much on that.
Yeah, I mean,
anyways,
the aspect of it is just also,
it's
so icky. Like, sure, like I will admit, when I first started watching F1, sure, I fell into the the POV
wow.
part of it. It was bad.
You don't need to admit that. It's okay.
I admitted it. I'm being vulnerable. But yeah, I mean, like, it's very quick to realize how weird it gets. Like, if you really think about it, I was delusional.
But like delusional.
Yeah,
but like the bad kind of delusional.
Yes, the bad kind of delusional.
Not just the silly kind of delusional,
Really.
like me.
But no, yeah. I mean, yeah, that like kind of border between like realizing that just because they're not near you every day doesn't mean that they're not real people is like what people are teetering on. Thank God I crossed that
Yeah.
line. Like, come on. And I don't care about any of that now. That stuff makes me cry if it pops up on my For You
Yeah.
page. I'm like immediate block. But yeah, like don't be calling Lando your sweet angel baby pie. I don't want to hear that. Like, touch grass, go outside,
Please.
go socialize with someone and call them that in real life.
Please.
Like,
Anyways.
yeah.
So yeah, anyway, that I feel like we were somewhere on the I know what brought us to that. It was Brazil and then but still going into the like I mentioned something about this with like the still the chance of Lando is technically still in the championship fight. Because with Brazil took out both Oscar and Charles, who were the last two. So now it's just Lando and Max. But that being said, between now and Vegas, or between then and Vegas, there's been a lot of things happen. And you know, because we were caught up with life, the episodes didn't get pushed out as soon as they were meant to be. And so they did not, we didn't talk about them. Like, we didn't even like talk about them on a recording somewhere, whether they got pushed out at the right time or not. So let's see if we can remember our list again that we came up with before. First
things first.
First that I can remember. Guys, no hate to the guy at all whatsoever. But Sauber signed Gabriel Bortoleto.
And the worst part is they didn't even announce it when they were in his home country. He's from Brazil.
No, they didn't. They waited
like 3 days after they left Brazil.
Yeah,
like,
and that's nuts. Like, why? They announced Kimi in Italy. Like, give the guy some decency. I don't know. Power to the Brazilians. Congratulations, you have a new Brazilian on the grid.
Yes.
The guy has only driven an F1 car once.
We will die on this hill.
And he's in his rookie season of F2, which, you know, so was Kimi. Whatever.
Yeah.
But, you know.
So was Franco.
Yeah. Oh, really? Was he?
I think so, right? Wasn't that like the big problem that he was also a rookie?
I don't know.
I could be wrong. Let me take that back. We'll check on that later.
I mean, he was a rookie as in like driving an F1 car.
Yeah.
But he'd driven an F1 car before. Like he drove
Yes, okay.
Franco drove in free practice 1 in Silverstone. Gabriel Bortoleto has not driven an FP1.
No, he hasn't done a free practice.
He hasn't. He hasn't because in the Sauber has been Robert Schwartzman, and in the McLaren has been Pato O'Ward. So no, Gabriel Bortoleto has not driven in like a live session in F1. Franco Colapinto did at least that, you know? Yeah. So
yeah. I mean,
it's just like, I don't know. People may be like, she has no clue what she's talking about, but then they're just not listening because I've explained where my issue lies, you know?
Yeah. It's not him personally, like him as a person deserving the seat. It's just his experience is not what I would consider enough to be a Formula One driver.
And you know, like
he's still in contention for the championship. It's not 100% sold to him. And I think what people are going off of, or like Sauber really capitalized off of, was he went from 20th to or 22nd to first in an F2 race.
hmm
It
But
was a
then we
safety
remember
car.
that F2 is a spec series,
The spec series,
and
and he won on a safety car, technically. He came out in front of it. So think like Lando Miami situation a little bit.
yeah.
So yeah.
So and I was rooting for Franco to have the seat because it
Yeah.
was the last. I mean, it's technically not the last open seat on the grid. The last
Mhm.
open seat is the dreaded V carb seat. Oh, but add that to the list if you can. Hopefully, you can
Yes.
read my mind. Um, but uh, that's technically the last open seat. But is it really open?
Mhm.
We don't know.
Yeah. I mean, with that also like Franco not having a seat, now Red Bull is considering him to replace
Yes,
Checo.
and Alpine, which stresses me out because who are they going to get rid of?
I think like they were saying like Jack's season has already ended before it started, which is like insane to me.
That's nuts.
Like if they
Um,
push him back into reserve, I'm going to go to war, actually. Because that's insane.
mhm,
He has
yes.
not driven the one time he went out on track this season, or like one of the two
He
times,
got
he got
rained
rained
out.
out.
He got like 2 laps, maybe not even something. Couldn't put a time on the board.
Let the
Um,
boy drive. Like, geez.
yeah. And he sat on sidelines for like a year. So,
Hmm. He waited, yeah.
um, I saw something along like those lines of like Red Bull going to Williams. There was like a video, and if I can find it to put
Hmm.
into the like, I have to remember which account it was from, but if I can find it to put it in the video, I'll put it. But it was like Christian Horner going to the Williams hospitality.
Hmm.
Um, and then like people were like, oh, they're going to ask like he's going to try to get Franco and buy him out of his contract or whatever, buy him out of his like Williams
Hmm.
Academy. And then people were like, no, he's going for Carlos to put Carlos in the Red Bull seat so Checo can hightail it out of there and Franco gets a Williams seat. And I'm like, this makes my head hurt.
And
And
on top of that,
I,
Checo signed it like not Checo particularly, but F1 just signed the Fat Kit Kat sponsorship, which is
yes.
also a
And you know
Checo
who brought
sponsor.
that in? Checo. And that's just like, I was, we're going back to that little silly delusion, not the bad delusion.
Mhm.
My silly delusion also existed in Franco sweeping up all of Checo's sponsorships so he could get a Red Bull seat or a V carb seat.
Mhm.
I'm not going to say it's the Red Bull seat as much as I want Franco in the Red Bull seat because he could be the menace that Max needs. Just like
Yes.
imagine like young Kevin Magnussen in a Red Bull. Well, not like when I say young, I don't mean like young Kevin. I mean like Kevin now, but
Yes.
young.
But yes, in Franco's age.
Yes. In the Red Bull, he could just be like, pow, pow. He could like take care of all of them for Max.
Exactly.
Even though Max doesn't need it. But like Franco,
Mhm.
we've seen like he's already defended against who? He's defended against Checo. He's dive bomb Alex. He's like done all this stuff. I can't
That was
lie. Like,
crazy behavior.
just like everyone else in the beginning, I was like, James
Hmm.
No Chin, what did you do? And then I cannot deny that he made a smart decision.
Yep.
So,
It definitely paid
um,
off.
yes. But as far as the Red Bull seat goes, from what we know right now, because of that Kit Kat sponsorship of all things, what are they gonna do? Sell Kit Kats at every single race ever?
I hope so. I love Kit Kats. I
I
I
don't.
could go.
Kit Kats stress me out.
What?
I do not. I don't like. They don't really stress me out. I just don't like the wafer. Like the wafer. It just bothers me. There's not enough.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. There's more to that. I think somewhere. Maybe there's some trauma.
Let's
I
unpack
don't
this.
know.
Yeah, let's unpack.
Uh, It's because Checo still has a seat. That's why.
Here's my
Not really.
prediction. Checo retires. Get that guy out of here. You know who takes that damn Red Bull seat? Our king, newly stated Red Bull driver Nicholas Solov. Push him up from F3. Get him in that
Yes.
seat.
Oh, that. Wow. That. How can we forget? Ava and I were stressing for so long that Nicholas Solov would not be racing in F3 because we hadn't heard anything.
Yeah.
The F3 season ended. Everybody was announcing their like drives. People were moving up to F2. Not Nicholas Solov. We were on pins and needles. And then
out of nowhere.
Yes. He joins the Red Bull Academy. He joins MP Motorsport, which
wait, I thought it was Campos.
That's it. It was Campos, yes. While we are like, I think the Campos to Red Bull pipeline needs to be studied.
It's stronger than that Williams Mercedes pipeline.
For real. Because like Nicholas Solov, Red Bull Jr., drives for Campos. Who else drives? I mean, Isaac Hadjar?
Yes.
Right?
Arvid Lindblad.
Arvid
just moved to
Lindblad?
Campos.
Yeah. And it's like, maybe we need to do a little bit of history on what Campos was before and like F2 or the pre of what F2 was, which I can't even remember what it was at this point.
Like
it was like
GB2 or something like that.
Yeah, GB2 or something like that. Because like, what team did Carlos Sainz drive for? I think that pipeline needs to be studied. And if there's anybody listening to this from Campos or from Red Bull, please
let us know.
Yeah. Let us be your insiders. Give us an exclusive and tell us about this little pipeline. Does the C in Campos stand for Christian, as in Christian Horner?
Yeah. 100%.
Let's see. Hold on. Okay, so Campos, C stands for Christian. Christian and Max.
And Max. Place. No.
Well, Christian and Marco pick our seats.
There we go.
That's the title of this episode. Welcome to Campos Racing. Christian and Marco pick our seats.
We're going to get a cease and desist from Campos Racing.
And Red Bull.
They're going to be like, you exposed us. Drop.
If that happens,
right now.
I'm drinking Monsters live on the air. I will pledge my allegiance.
Work at Shotgun Monsters. Stay tuned for that.
For real. Yeah. Or Celsius, we got to give it up to the Ferrari peeps. Yeah.
Celsius makes me feel like I'm having a stroke.
What?
Celsius makes me feel like I'm having a stroke.
Really? That's so interesting. It's supposed to be the healthy one. But so yeah, we've now figured out what Campos Racing stands for. The pipeline has been solved. It's totally not a made-up theory by us.
No, it's 100% real.
At all. Yes. So back to where we were. Yeah, Checo, as far as we know, keeping a seat for 2025. Franco, could be getting. Okay, so Liam Lawson has been driving. He is driving in VCARB right now, but his seat is still not confirmed. He does not know if he has a drive next year. Nothing has been announced. That is technically the last open seat on the grid. Is the other VCARB seat next to Yuki Tsunoda. Yeah.
Ideally Yuki would move up, but Red Bull just hates him.
Like we've kind of, like I've deduced at least, they are trying to push him off as long as possible for Honda to get back into Aston Martin, and then he'll get to go to Aston Martin. One of these days, Lance Stroll will tell his father that he doesn't want to race anymore, and then
it'll be like, have you seen that the news, like the newer remake of Pinocchio, like that
Yes, the
audio.
yassified
Like,
version.
Father, I want to be on my own. Last
Yeah,
one.
the yassified version. You get PTSD from that. Anywho,
I didn't even watch that. Did it actually ever get released?
yeah,
It did. I didn't see anything about it. Like I thought
like
just
that.
that.
The Pinocchio. Yeah, that movie is real.
What the hell? Why did they think that was a good idea?
I don't know.
Anyways, speaking of good ideas, though, Dom's Racing made a very good decision by moving
Yes,
Dino Aganovich finally up to F2.
but also
I've
they're going
been
to be in
praying for
F3
times like
next
these.
year. They're on the
Yes,
grid. I forgot who was being dropped for that, but
Denzer,
oh,
something like that.
Genzer.
Genzer, not Benzer.
Interesting.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank God. But he is replacing Juan Manuel Correa, which I will miss him because one,
Yeah.
he's hilarious. Two, he's been fighting in F2 for like years now. Like he had his
Yes.
little stint in endurance, which I think he might be honestly going back to. Like maybe
But
Pearl will pick
also,
him up.
it wasn't Juan Manuel Correa's choice
Hmm.
to be in F2 for that long.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
there's this.
Yeah, but
Um,
hopefully he goes back to endurance
yeah.
and
Depending on what Jack Crawford is doing for the rest of the season, I'm still a little confused
hmm
because he is signed as a reserve driver for Andretti's Formula E team now, which is
hmm
great. Andretti, American team. Jack
hmm
Crawford, American. It just works out. Came out of
perfect.
nowhere though,
Yeah, honestly,
which is
like I
great.
don't think anyone was expecting that.
No one was expecting. Not
Kind of
me.
dropped on a random Tuesday, and I was like, oh,
Interesting.
okay.
Yeah. I think that covers feeder series though.
I mean, I think did we cover Dennis moving to Indy next on the last time we
No.
filmed?
Yeah, Dennis isn't any next. Um, Robert Schwartzman jumped to Prema's Indy team.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's the big one.
And Logan tested for
Yes.
Shank, which is a good day for the Logan girls, the Logan
Hmm.
girlies, me
God bless
included.
America. Let me check and see if we're missing
I'm
anything.
glad you wrote it down. I'm not.
I didn't write it down. I'm going to check Instagram.
Oh,
I mean, only other
Alpine
thing is
now.
like
We briefly.
Macau.
Oh,
Oh,
Alpine
Niels
now
Poulin is going
is
to Indy next. That's another one.
yes. I remember that. Which yeah.
He was just like a fill-in seat for Taylor Barnard when he went to Formula E.
Mhm.
But so he has no points in
Yeah.
the F2 category right now. But
Yes.
he's going to Indy next
But
now. So
our next F2 race is in Qatar.
yes.
So it's great.
Hmm.
Alpine will now be an engine receiver. They will now
Yes.
have their engine supply receiver. This just sounds funny the way that was phrased. Their engines will now be supplied by Mercedes, which means Mercedes now has over half the grid that they supply engines for. And if teams start being sabotaged, I'm just saying, we know the first place to look.
Yep.
It's about to get Spygate, Crashgate, Scandalgate,
Engine gate.
all up in here again.
Exactly.
And I'd be here for it. I'm just saying.
We'll get the insider exclusive. We'll do the investigating.
Yeah.
Oh, kind of jumping back to feeders. I just remembered this, but F1 Academy announced that whoever wins this year's series gets an automatic
Yes.
placement in GB3.
Yes, with Rodin,
Yes.
their seat is fully funded, so which is great. So they're moving somewhere.
Yep. So like, yeah, as it stands, I think Abby Pulling is in most contention to get that spot, but it's not fully over yet because we've got Maya Wug. I think I said that wrong. Sorry, Maya. And Dorian Penn is also in contention for that other seat or for the title. So we'll see where that ends up. Abby, also speaking of Abby, Formula E, she did the women's, like the all women's test. She was one of the drivers for, I want to say Jaguar, but it just reminded me Abby Pulling in most contention to win that seat right now as it stands.
Yes, Dorian still has a chance at getting the F1 championship. Chloe's Chambers is like still in there too, just a little bit.
I think Maya Webb is the other one. I think she's technically still in contention, but
yeah.
Yes,
then the Formula E all women's test, and Abby Pulling was at the top of those timesheets too. So she's a queen. We love her for that.
For real.
And then super niche Formula series that we've never talked about, but Formula Regional Americas, they revamped their scholarship program. Yeah, I looked into this today.
Yeah.
Because it came up.
No, I saw your story. Yeah.
Revamped their scholarship program. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it just like furthers along like getting, so even though it has the title Formula Regional Americas or whatever, that's really feeding into IndyCar. So it's not really feeding into Formula One like the name entails. It's literally just the fact that it's single seater. But they revamped their scholarship program and like more money to more drivers to help secure seats for the next season and whatever that they go into. So it's good. Yeah, super niche. That's my extra knowledge for the day.
Can't think of anything else feeder wise. That was I mean, a couple of like F4 regionals got their champions, but I think Spanish F4 got theirs. British F4 has had theirs. Yeah, it's the only one that I remember seeing. Spanish F4 just crowned their champion. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't think of much else that has maybe happened.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, Williams signed a 10-year-old.
Yes, I remember seeing that.
He's like a karting savant. And according to Feeder Series, he was born in the same month that Max Verstappen made his single-seater debut. Therefore, he is the next Max Verstappen. So.
Oh, goodness.
Yep, that's what that means.
That's something.
Lando Norris was not in Tate McRae's music video.
Yes, and I was crushed. And if we're going, you know what? Okay, this is going to be the Cassie crash out segment because this is where I talk about all of the reasons why I'm about to crash out. While we do the Vegas preview, because they go hand in hand. Yeah. Or, I don't know, we were going to wait for the Vegas preview.
I might as well just tack it on.
Yeah. I definitely feel like there was a lot more we can talk about. But Yes, Lando
It's
Norris
okay.
was
Crash
not
out.
in Tate McRae's music video. We all got swindled. We all got led on. We all fell for it. Tate McRae knew what she was doing because she watched Lando's stream that one time where Lando said Tate was a little cutie.
The kid Leroy is crying.
Not ever in Tate McRae. I can never. He's crying because thank God. But really, can the kid Leroy fight? Because Tate McRae is so pretty, and like she can dance, she can sing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
She's super pretty. Her body.
but so yes. Everybody collectively crashed out at that, but here, okay. Vegas. So at the time of recording this, Vegas is next week. Literally, like what's today? Thursday. This time next week, I will have been watching free practice 2. I'll be watching free practice 2, guys. Yeah, I'm so excited. And there's like that little Ferrari like support series or whatever. So like most of like I think the Porsche Super Cup is over, which we've never talked about it. But the Porsche Super Cup is always what goes on in between all of like the sessions, including at Coda. I'm not sure. I wasn't paying attention for Brazil or Mexico.
They might have been.
But
I didn't
that's
see 'em.
always like Porsche Super Cup has always been in there, and now it's not. And I'm not sure if it's specific to this race or if their season's over. I haven't been paying attention. But so now we have this little Ferrari support series thing. I don't know. But I'm actually gonna crash out because I want to like I literally have no stake in this game because I'm planning it a week before. And a lot of people plan these things a lot sooner. But I've tried not to stress too much out about this. But
Yeah,
I realized I was like, I want to be at the front of the fan zone. And I was told like by people at like Coda and things that they lined up to be at the fan zone like hours before the gates open. I don't really know if I want to do that because hours before the gates open for this race is like lining up at noon and the gates open at 4:30. I don't know if I want to do that. But then I started looking and I found out. So for those who don't know, my brother and I, who he's going to the race with me, we bought GA tickets, like general, because my brother's in college. I am surviving off of the money that I make at my job, while trying to like still pay bills and things. So we're just like, it's fine. We're going for the experience. My brother, like the only reason I went to Vegas instead of Coda is because my brother wanted to get on a plane. We'd gone to Coda, we would have just drove. So I was like, whatever. So I wasn't like super stressed. It didn't like, I was like, there's no chance I'm going to get into the fan zone. Like, I'm fine with that, whatever. Well, then we got upgraded our tickets because Vegas wanted to sell more tickets to more people, and people weren't buying the tickets that we ended up with, and so they just upgraded us. So at least now I have a seat. I'm not standing the whole time.
There you go.
But I was like, oh, now that I have these seats, maybe I can get into the fan zone and listen to the drivers and do the whole thing. So I was like, when is the schedule when these drivers are going to get here? And y'all, no joke, they start these things like as soon as people walk in the door. Like you're sprinting from when the gates open to that stage because like the driver interviews start at 4:35. I was like, oh my gosh. But the driver interviews are in a certain like ticket zone, so they're in the East Harmon zone, and I'm in the West Harmon zone, and I'm like gonna crash out because I'm doing all this work. Like I've in the start of making friendship bracelets. Literally, I have an Alpine one because I have pink beads. I have orange ones because I have a McLaren one because these orange beads, and along with whatever else. And I got the little poster board. I was gonna make the sign, and then I didn't know, will I be allowed to get into the East Harmon zone to see the fan stage even if I have
Mhm.
West Harmon Zone, like that's where my tickets are. And I asked Threads because TikTok is mad at me or will be mad at me if I try to post right now. So it will not push my question out to people. And then Instagram will also do the same, but also I'm kind of hiding from Instagram because I have content that's literally just sitting waiting to be posted. And I haven't finished all the in-between ones to make
Real.
my grid what I want it to be. It's been a struggle. I mean, I'll catch up.
It's okay.
It's fine.
We got
I'll
it.
have like you'll literally just see it all posted on Saturday so I can post for Vegas with no judgment. But yes, so I asked Threads because I've had some like a little bit of reach there for some things. And the one response that I got was that it's just the East Harm Zone. And I'm gonna crash out because of that. Because what do you mean? Like it doesn't make sense. Because I
If you
also
think about it,
the free fan experience that's available to everybody at Vegas, like
mhm.
just even if you're in the area, I missed out on that one by like 15 minutes.
Oh no.
And those tickets haven't come back since.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna, if there's something there too, I know that there's gonna be like F1 Academy drivers in there stuff, probably the American ones.
Mhm.
It's like, if I miss out something on there too, I'm gonna crash out. It's like, I should have just gone to a European GP instead. Those seem a lot better organized
Yeah.
than whatever this race is.
Yeah. Speaking of
Next year,
crashing
maybe
out
we'll see.
and Europe, here's my crash out session. So basically, what happened was F1 decided that for next year's season launch party, they're just going to do all 10 teams at once. They're all going to be at the London O2 Arena in February. Now, when I heard this, immediate crash out. I already had FOMO. I still have FOMO. It hasn't even happened yet. The tickets are 50 euros, I think, 50 pounds. I don't know.
Something. They're not that expensive.
They're not that expensive at all. But like knowing that I don't have the money for a plane ticket is genuinely like making me spiral out of control. I'm so mad that I cannot be there in person. I've never been to London. I've never been anywhere in Europe. I have never gone to anything F1 related, which is still crazy to me because I feel like at this point, like, come on now. But they're going to have all 20 drivers, all 10 teams in one arena. And I can't be there. I mean, they're live streaming it, but like, it's going to be at like 2 a.m. for us, like in the US. Like, what's the point? I'm also still crashing out about Vegas because I did not win any giveaways as of right now. So I'm not going, which is really unfortunate.
Unfortunately. And yeah.
I'm so broke. I spent too much money on F1 merch, and now I don't have any more money to spend on a flight to Vegas. I could literally just buy a ticket for the race. They're going for like $100, like just for Saturday.
Yes.
But I don't have plane money, which is the big problem.
But the plane money at this point is like $1,500. And it is not worth
$1,500 to Vegas.
Yeah. I have like a flight tracker.
Oh God. I think that's like $500 less than the amount
That's
of
how
money I
much
have to
I
my name.
spent. I spent that much money. Actually, did I spend more than that? I spent more than that on my ticket to London. So
It's okay. It happens.
Of course I spent more than that on my ticket to London. I spent like only like $200 more than that on my ticket to London.
Yeah. I mean, okay, the only other problem is I don't know if I have exams that day. I don't know what my class schedule looks like because it's on like a Tuesday. So like I I mean, I could wait, I don't think I have classes on Tuesday. This could work actually. No, okay, no. Let me not get delusional. So what I'm trying
No,
to do
listen,
instead,
because like you just like get the flight for Sunday. You
Mhm.
land Sunday. You stay Monday.
Yeah.
You stay Tuesday.
Mhm.
I mean, if you could just do your classes on Monday, all it would be is like it'd just be night for you on Monday to do your classes during the day.
I mean,
And then Tuesday, if you don't have any class, you go to the launch. You hop on a flight Tuesday night back to Texas, because that might
to
be the
Texas.
closest to Dallas,
Yeah.
because time zones. So you like you leave at like 11 p.m. or whatever London
Mhm.
time, and then you're back at like 5 p.m. America time.
I mean, see, I would do that, but I feel like having never have gone to London, I feel like I can't just spend like 48 hours there. Like if I was going, I'd spend
Yeah.
like longer time, but we'll see. Maybe. So what my plan actually is now is to convince F1 to let me host it. Um, I think I have a lot of great qualifications to host it. I'm funny. I like cars, and I know what I'm talking about. And, put some makeup on me. I look fine on camera. So really, F1, this is just a plea to you. Um,
This
let
website
me
says these
host.
tickets go on sale at 10 a.m., but it doesn't say if that's 10 a.m. British time or my time.
Strange. I saw that some people were getting access to them.
There was a pre-sale today.
Yeah,
Separate
the
from
pre-sale.
was today the Amex pre-sale?
I want to say, yeah.
I can't remember. But literally 50, 75, and 100. Wacko.
Like, what does $100 get me? Like on the stage seating? Like, what are we talking?
$100 gets you like on the floor, I think,
Oh, I'm gonna be in the pit.
in the pit. Mosh.
Gosh, at the F1 launch party, be there or be square.
That'd be what. Look, 3 hours. So it's British. Hold on, you can't see it. It's like British 10 a.m. This is
British 10
this is
a.m.
wacko.
Gross.
4 a.m. for
So,
me.
yeah, go ahead and send my social media
And this
accounts
is
to
everybody get an Amex card.
I mean,
I
I
got
feel
a
like I should
Capital
just
One
get one,
card to
like at this point.
That's why I got a Capital One card, is to like get exclusive stuff. Which, okay, that brings me to another reason why I'm gonna crash out. My brother and I spent this money on McLaren, or we spent this money on these tickets, only to find out that like if I'd have been patient, one, we could have gotten the Lewis Hamilton package for the same price that we paid, but way better seats, the limited edition hat, whatever, maybe access into that stupid East Harmon zone where I'd have access to the fan stage. To that.
Honestly,
But then
I could
also,
sneak in.
if you have a MasterCard, this is like, I'm not sponsored. You will not find a sponsor anywhere, but sign up for Priceless with your MasterCard, whether it's a credit or a debit card, because if I'd have been patient and not let my brother convince me to jump the gun, could have gotten tickets to like the main grandstand, the McLaren grandstand, whatever kind of grandstand McLaren is sponsoring at Vegas, not sponsoring, you get what I mean? For $135 a piece for 3 days, because that was the lap time that Oscar set in Vegas last year. They decided to make it their price of their tickets for 3 days.
That's insane. That is such a good
That
deal.
is
That is
what
a
makes me
valid
want to crash out.
Yep, that's
Granted, they
valid.
only probably had like 100 of those things, and they sold out like real quick. But
Mhm.
so
Yeah. So long
Yeah.
story short, when we crash out, F1 hire me to host F175. I will do it like for free. Honestly, I will do it for free.
just pay for airfare. That's all.
Yes, cover my airfare. I'll be there. I will give you a good show. And it will be entertaining. So
Yeah.
go spam
Um,
F1 with my social media.
So yeah.
Go tell them to make me the host.
Is there anything else?
Mm, I don't think so.
We can do more Vegas preview next episode.
Yeah.
I told my crashing out story. By the time the next episode rolls around, I will probably still be wanting to crash out for different reasons, but I will be more focused on packing a suitcase.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
after the episode, of course.
Yeah, of course. So that's it. Turn off your phone now.
Any wise words, Ava? What's your wise words for this episode?
My wise words are, do I self-promote or do I actually give advice?
Real.
Make bad financial decisions if it means that you get to do something fun. That's my wise words. We'll see if I live by those, but other people can do that. What are your wise words?
My wise words are campus. Christian and Marco pick our seats.
Period. Stay tuned for the Red Bull
So-
expose episode coming
Yep.
soon, or a cease and desist. Either way, something will happen.
We'll find out soon.
Yep.
That has been this episode. You guys know the drill. You can find us on Instagram at Radio Check with 2R, 2Ks, and an underscore in the middle. On there is, our link tree, our email. Get in touch with us, follow us, like, share, all the good things. We appreciate you guys for being here, for sticking it through this long, especially if you're on this episode and just willing to give us another listen, just like you have been. So we will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Oh my god, guys! I love you so much.